to the Fantasy Academy. My name is Shannon Hartley, and this week we are going to be going through starts and sits, players that you should be starting week 6 of the NFL, and players you should be keeping out of your lineups. So go ahead, do me a favor, give the Fantasy Academy a follow below, subscribe, and let us know if you've got any comments. Let us know who you're sitting, let us know who you're starting, and let's get straight into it with quarterbacks. And these aren't your obvious Lamar Jacksons, your Patrick Mahomes. So it's the players who are kind of on the fringe each week that you may want to play or may want to sit. So starting off with quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford going against Jacksonville. He's got Kenny Golladay back. They just had a bye week, but Golladay was back the week before that and had a touchdown. So he's got a solid group of receivers there in Detroit. And Stafford's a good quarterback. He just, he's either got receivers out or things just don't go in favor for them. But I think Stafford's going to have a great week against Jacksonville, who's the 24th worst defense against the pass so far through 5 weeks in the NFL. And then we've got Kirk Cousins going up against Atlanta. You pretty much want to play any quarterback against Atlanta this year, so that's why we've got Kirk Cousins in there. He's also been playing well. And then Ben Roethlisberger going up against Cleveland, who is 30th against the pass, which is, right up there with Atlanta. So get Ben Roethlisberger in there. He had 4 touchdowns to Chase Claypool last week. And, he can sling the ball to Juju. He can sling it to Clay, Deontay Johnson if he's back, James Washington. So he's got a slew of receivers that he can get the ball to. So he'll be a strong play against Cleveland in week 6. And then we've got Carson Wentz going up against Baltimore. And you think, Baltimore, aren't they a good defense? Well, they're 26th against the pass so far this year. And Carson Wentz did really well against Pittsburgh last week in week 5. So I'm looking for him to have a good week 6. He had, Travis Fulgham. He's had some receivers step up, Greg Ward. And then he's got maybe Alshon Jeffrey coming back as well. So Carson Wentz could be a strong play in week 6 as well. And then quarterbacks you should be sitting in week 6, starting off with Joe Burrow going up against Indianapolis. Really strong defense. Joe Burrow, is still working things through as a rookie, and Cincinnati's still coming along. So sit Joe Burrow. Then we've got Daniel Jones going up against Washington. Another really strong defense against the pass. They're 4th right now. Daniel Jones, he hasn't looked great this year. A lot of people had hope for him coming into the season that he was really going to break out in his sophomore year, but hasn't really done that yet. And team's been injured. They lost Saquon. Some of the receivers have been down. Shepard, I believe Tate was down earlier in the season. So things just haven't really come along for Daniel Jones yet. And then we've got Alex Smith and Kyle Allen for the Washington football team. I wouldn't be playing either of them right now. First of all, we don't know who's playing, so whichever one they are playing, they're going against the Giants, which actually have the 6th best defense against the pass so far this season. So stay away from Washington quarterbacks. And then 49ers quarterbacks as well. Jimmy Garoppolo, is he injured again? Is he playing? Even if he is playing, do you want to play him and put him in your lineup? Probably not right now. So I say sit Garoppolo, sit Beathard, sit Mullins, whichever one of them is playing. Just, if you've got a better option, if they're your only option, obviously put them in there. But if you don't have to play the 49ers quarterback in week 6, don't do it against a really solid Giants defense against the pass. And lastly, I would say Drew Lock. I'm a huge Drew Lock fan. I have him as my 3rd QB in my dynasty right now. But I say stay away from Drew Lock in week 6, coming back from his injury. Still hasn't played a lot of live action this season. So going up against a New England defense that, even though they lost some players this season to COVID, opting out, they still have a solid defense. So I say stay away from Drew Lock. He doesn't have Cortland Sutton. He's got some young receivers. And going against a good defense, that's going to be rough for him. So those are your starts and sits for week 6. Let's get into running backs. All right. First of all, I have James Robinson going up against Detroit, the 30th ranked defense against the run. And James Robinson has been really solid. I've had him on my list a lot of weeks because I feel like he's one of those players where fantasy managers are like, should I play him? Should I not play him? Because he's not a big name, and he plays for Jacksonville. But Robinson has been solid pretty much every game he's started. So, and he's going up against a really bad Detroit defense. So get him in your lineup. And then we've got Jonathan Taylor going up against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's 27th ranked defense, so definitely have Jonathan Taylor. He's the RB1 for Indianapolis, and should be a good week 6 for him. And then Devin Singletary, had him in the lineup last week as well. I think he's going to be a really strong play going against Kansas City, who hasn't had a good run defense this year. They're ranked 28th from when I got my rankings. So Singletary going up against the Chiefs is going to be a solid play. And then Cardinals running backs. We've got Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds going up against Dallas. Kind of like the Atlanta defense. Any players going against the Atlanta defense or the Dallas defense, if you put them in there, they're probably going to score some points. So Kenyon Drake, people have been waiting for him to have a breakout game this year. Even if this isn't necessarily a breakout game for him, I feel like he's going to put up solid points. He had he didn't have a breakout game in week 5, but he had around 60 yards, I think 18 carries, and a touchdown. So he put up around 14, 15 points, which was solid. And this could definitely be that breakout game for Kenyon Drake. And then Chase Edmonds, his backup, he's just been really solid as a backup slash kind of slot receiver type player. So you could play both of those guys, and I think that they might have great weeks against Dallas. And then we've got Adrian Peterson of the Lions going against Jacksonville. He's an oldie but a goodie. He's been putting up good numbers so far this season, and DeAndre Swift hasn't quite filled the role that they want him to yet. So Adrian Peterson is that vet that they're going to, and he's getting lots of touches and he's producing. So get Adrian Peterson in your lineup going against the 25th ranked Jacksonville run defense. And for running backs, you should be starting off with Antonio Gibson for Washington going against the New York Giants. New York Giants are the 10th ranked run defense. Surprisingly, Giants have an overall solid defense, 10th against the run, 6th against the pass. So their offense is really the reason that they're not doing well so far in 2020. So Antonio Gibson going against the Giants, I say, he's a rookie. He hasn't, produced greatly yet, and he's going against a solid run defense. So keep him out of your lineup this week. And then J.K. Dobbins going against Philadelphia. Dobbins got 1 carry last week. I think it went for 36 yards, but they're feeding Gus Edwards, they're feeding Mark Ingram, and they're not giving him the workload that we want. So stay away from Dobbins. If you've got Ingram and Dobbins, I say put Ingram in going up against Philadelphia. And then I had on my list Le'Veon Bell going against the LA Chargers, because Le'Veon Bell hasn't done anything this season so far, and he's been hurt a lot of games. But we just got breaking news tonight that Le'Veon Bell got dropped, but he got released by the Jets. So he will not be going up against the LA Chargers. So that's crazy. We'll see, a bunch in the news about that. Will be interesting. And then Darrell Henderson, I never remember which it is, going up against San Francisco. We've got Cam Akers coming back. Henderson's been a really solid play, actually, filling in for Akers, even though they were going to be kind of a three-headed monster with Malcolm Brown, Cam Akers, and Darrell Henderson. But with Akers coming back, I don't think Darrell Henderson's going to have a great week, especially since they're going against the 49ers. So stay away from that running game as a whole. And then lastly, the Patriots running backs. We've got James White back. We've got Damian Harris. We've got Rex Burkhead. We've got Sony Michel. There's probably 5 more that I'm forgetting with the Patriots. But stay away from them. They're going against Denver, which is a solid defense, 13th ranked run defense. And it's just never fun putting in Patriots running backs. So if you can, stay away from them. Let's get into wide receivers. Man, I feel like I'm just flying through all this. It's a lot of names, a lot of positions to get through. All right, receivers, you're going to be giving the green light to in week 6 of the NFL. McCole Hardman for the Chiefs going up against Buffalo. Buffalo has an atrocious pass defense. They're ranked 27th. So get McCole Hardman. They're going to be keying on Tyreek Evans. Mahomes is going to be, getting it to Hardman, a lot this game. So get him into your lineup. Then we've got Justin Jefferson going against Atlanta. Hello, Atlanta. A lot of passing yards in that game. Justin Jefferson's going to do great. Get him into your lineup. And then we've got Chase Claypool, which I was huge on before the season. I loved Chase Claypool. I watched a lot of his film, and I picked him up in both of my dynasty. I picked him up in every league I'm in, actually. So I was very happy in week 5 when he went off for 4 touchdowns. I almost did 8. 4 touchdowns as a rookie, people. That's insane. A lot of vets haven't even ever done that. I don't even know if Calvin Johnson ever had 4 touchdowns in a game. Somebody look up that stat. So Chase Claypool, he is solidifying himself as a great receiver in the Pittsburgh receiving core. Obviously, they have Juju Smith. They've got Deontay Johnson, James Washington, and people weren't sure about Chase Claypool, how he was going to fit in. But, I think people are looking at him as their second best receiver right now, with potential to be the number 1 guy passing Juju, especially if they don't re-sign Juju because they already have a bunch of great receivers. Chase Claypool, especially if you watched Jeff's video from the waiver wire this week, he said pick up Chase Claypool if somebody hasn't already. So make sure to pick him up for waivers, and also you can pretty much play him any week because they're going to be feeding him more often now. So go ahead, play Chase Claypool against Cleveland. They are 30th against the pass, so Pittsburgh is going to have another huge week passing going against Cleveland. And then 4th, we've got Jerry Jeudy going up against Miami. Cortland Sutton obviously still out for the season. Drew Lock coming back, so should be a connection right there. I don't know that that Drew Lock is going to put up huge numbers, but I think Jerry Jeudy will receive quite a few of the targets that he throws. So get Jeudy into your lineup. And then we've got Travis Fulgham for the Eagles going up against Baltimore, who surprisingly, like I said, has not been great against the pass. They're 26th. So Travis Fulgham coming out of nowhere. I remember I looked up what college he went to, but I still don't remember where it is. It's a smaller joint, I believe. It's smaller. But he came out of nowhere and had 2 touchdowns last week going against Pittsburgh, which is a great defensive team. And he had a big week before that too, I think putting up like 15 points or around there. So they're going against Baltimore, trash pass defense. So get Fulgham into your lineup because the Eagles really don't have anyone else unless they have Alshon coming back or Reagor at some point. Fulgham is a great pickup, and right now he's a solid play. And for wide receivers you should be sitting in week 6, first off, T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Is that what he does? T.Y. I don't know what it is exactly. But he's going against Cincinnati, and he's just not been... I feel like this segment should be called Trash or Pass, but T.Y. Hilton has just not been strong this year. Phillip Rivers is using a lot of his receivers and his tight ends, and Hilton just isn't receiving the production that he used to. And Cincinnati is 17th, so they're not horrible against the pass. So I say leave Hilton out of your lineups. Then we've got John Brown going up against Kansas City. He's probably second best receiver for Buffalo, and Kansas City has a really strong passing defense, so I think they're going to be taking away a lot of what Josh Allen can do. And I don't think John Brown's going to be able to get deep on a lot of their defensive backs. So I'd say sit John Brown in week 6. And then we've got Golden Tate. I was hopeful for Golden Tate in week 5. I thought he was going to have a big week, but unfortunately he didn't. And this week, the Giants are going up against Washington, the 4th best passing defense. So leave Golden Tate out of your lineup. They are really feeding Darius Slayton and Evan Engram at this point, and not Golden Tate. So keep him out of your lineup for week 6. And then we've got Corey Davis going up against the Giants. I'm actually filming this on Tuesday, and the Titans just beat... who did they just play? They just played the Bills. Corey Davis, he didn't do a whole lot in this game because A.J. Brown is back. They still, Jonnu Smith has been solid. He had 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown had a touchdown. Derrick Henry. So I feel like Corey Davis is just kind of getting pushed out of the offense a little bit. And they're going up against that solid Giants passing defense. So no Corey Davis in week 6. And then 49ers wide receivers. We talked about 49ers quarterbacks earlier. Don't play them. I would also stay away from 49ers wide receivers. They're never horrible options. Deebo Samuel, now Brandon Ayuk. Those two, if you have them, I feel like are risky plays going up against the LA Rams in week 6 with the quarterback situation. But obviously Deebo Samuel is a good receiver. Brandon Ayuk is a good receiver. I think they could get you, at best, maybe 8 to 12 points in week 6. Maybe up to 15 if you're lucky. But I feel like that's the highest it's going to be, which isn't horrible. But if you've got better options to throw in there, I would say do it. And last but not least, let's get into tight ends. Maybe I did this because tight ends are like the tough guys. I'm not really sure why I did that. I think I just need to get some energy out. All right, tight ends that you should be sitting week 6 of the NFL. Evan Engram. I just talked about the Giants. Darius Slayton and Evan Engram are the ones who've been getting all of the targets. So they're going up against Washington, which against the pass have been horrible, 30th in the league so far. So play Evan Engram going up against Washington. Then we've got Kyle Rudolph going up against Atlanta. Ding, ding, Atlanta again. So play Kyle Rudolph. Kirk Cousins should be hitting him a lot. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. I'm sure there will be plenty of air yards to go around. Excuse me. And then we've got TJ Hawkinson going up against Jacksonville. I just have a lot of faith in Matt Stafford. I always have a lot of faith in Matt Stafford. And he really likes Hawkinson. Big, fast tight end. So I think Hawkinson's going to have a really strong week. And Jacksonville is 28th against tight ends. So earlier I said Washington was 30th defense-wise. They're 30th against tight ends anyway. Atlanta is 31st against tight ends. Jacksonville is 28th. And then we've got Eric Ebron. Get him in your lineup. He's going against Cleveland, which are ranked 26th in the NFL going against tight ends. I believe he had 2 fumbles last week, which wasn't great. So he's going to be looking for a get-right game, and I'm hoping that Big Ben feeds him in the red zone if he's not thrown to Claypool, because I would love that too. So get Ebron in your lineup. He'll be a really strong play in week 6 if you're struggling to find another tight end to throw in there. And then we've got Mike Gesicki going up against the New York Jets. The New York Jets are a mess. Miami's been playing really well. Fitzmagic's been great, so throw Gesicki into your lineup. He should be solid. And then tight ends that you should be sitting, don't play them. Drew Sample going up against Indianapolis, the best defense against the tight ends. And Drew Sample is not a great tight end, so don't play him. Then we've got Logan Thomas. Started out hot this season, but that's kind of faded. And he's going up against the Giants, which are second best in the league against tight ends. So leave Logan Thomas out of your lineup. Give him the red light. And then we've got Jimmy Graham, who's been good this season. He's going up against Carolina, though. Another strong defense against the tight end. And, maybe he'll get a red zone touchdown or something like that. But I don't see Jimmy Graham having a lot of yards going up against Carolina in week 6. So I would say if you don't have a better option, or if you have a better option to throw in there, definitely do it. And then we've got Chris Herndon, people, which, my God, Chris Herndon has been so bad for all of the hype that he was getting before the season. I don't know if the guy can catch a ball. Every time I see him on red zone, he's dropping a big pass. And also wasn't receiving a lot of targets before that, so he's not helping himself at all. So if you have Chris Herndon, which I hope you don't at this point, leave him out of your roster until he puts up like 2 20-point games in a row. And then we've got Rob Gronkowski. Pains me to say it because I love Gronk, but he hasn't done anything this season really. And they're going up against Green Bay, the 6th best defense against tight ends. So, yeah, don't play Rob Gronkowski. He'll have a big week at some point this season, but it's not going to be against Green Bay in Week 6. So that's it for Week 6. Start them, sit them for Fantasy Football 2020. Remember, be sure to leave comments below. Let me know who you are going to be starting, who you're going to be sitting. What do you disagree with me on with my list? Let me know. Let's have some discussion. And don't forget to subscribe to the Fantasy Academy as well. And I will be with you next week, Week 7 of Start 'em, Sit 'em. So I'll see you then.